Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Daisy. For today's video, I'm going to be reading my subscriber scary stories. So if you guys are interested, grab your snacks, grab your cobija, and let's get straight into it. So now let's begin with our first story. Hi Daisy, my name is Eric and I'm from El Paso, Texas. Hey Eric. I recently started watching your channel and I really enjoy your videos. I subscribed and binge watched all of them. Thank you so much. To me, there's something about Latinos knowing how to really get you spooked, and you have managed to do that. So I hope my story spooks you and makes it into your channel. Thank you so much, Eric. First of all, huge compliment. Thank you. So it is titled La Sombra. So I was raised by my great-grandma, a very Catholic lady and very dedicated to her faith. The house she had has raised 3 generations, me being the last one. Throughout my whole childhood, I always had a weird vibe about my abuelita's house, especially one room in particular. It had always been my room, but as a kid, I had always refused to sleep there because of the vibe it carried. When I was a teenager, I decided to start staying in that room because I kind of lost that fear, but I still got a weird feeling from it. I always thought it was only my imagination or my childhood years of being afraid of that room playing tricks on my mind. Plus, I already had reached that level where I wanted some privacy to play my video games or watch my scary movies since my grandma hated them. So anyways, when I started to sleep in that room, I would always hear little noises here and there. But I paid no attention since my grandma had the house since the 1950s, so I figured it's going to creak. After a good month or so of staying in that room, I would wake up because I would hear somebody whisper loudly in my ear, which continued to happen for the following 3 weeks, and always at 3:45 a.m. I was never able to make out the whisper, but it felt like I had dreamt it, yet heard it in the room. I can't explain it, but it was very creepy. Days later, my attitude started to change. I became very rebellious, often getting into trouble and even started messing with the occult. I felt so angry in that house, so irritable and overwhelmed. Around that time, I started getting insomnia as well and couldn't sleep at all. I started isolating myself and stayed away from friends at school and just kept to myself until I had no friends, not even the ones I would get in trouble with. I became very quiet over time and hardly talked. My grandma around this time took notice due to me refusing to go to church or pray with her without having a fit. She decided to call a priest because she had found the occult stash I had in my room and freaked out and wanted someone to bless the house. The priest showed up and blessed the entire house, including my room. For a split second, I felt better, like a weight had just suddenly been lifted off my shoulders, but it came back quick, almost immediately. That night felt different to me. Something was off. I kept seeing a shadow out of the corner of my eye, but when I would turn, nothing was there. I decided to go to sleep, and that night I heard the whisper I had heard for those 3 weeks. But after hearing it, I couldn't move. I couldn't talk or scream. All I could do was move my eyes around. And at the corner of that godforsaken room, there was a huge black mass with really black eyes that stood out in the dark. A hooded figure that looked like he was flailing his arms and saying something in a weird language. I managed to see my radio clock and the numbers were all messed up, so I could not tell how long I was like that, but it felt like hours. All of a sudden, I was able to move, and the first thing I did was yell and flew out of my bed and ran to my grandma's room. I told her someone was in my room that held me down and didn't let me go. My grandma and I then went into my room, and mind you that it was the middle of July when this happened. We walked in and my room was cold as ice to a point where we could see our own breath, and there was a disgusting smell of sulfur. The electricity had also gone out in the room, but only in that room. My grandma called my uncle frantically that night, so we went to stay with him until another priest was able to bless that house and room. When the priest blessed the room, he started to feel distressed and wanted to leave as soon as possible. The scary thing to this day is the fact that my grandma had got cancer and passed away 6 months after that incident. My grandma was always a healthy woman that never smoked, drank, or did any illicit drugs. To this day, I still see that shadow from time to time, still following me. Not as often as back then, but I know it still watches me from the dark. I am so sorry for your loss, first of all. I don't even want to correlate the two. You were really going through it in that room. It's clearly something was attached to you, negative, almost demonic. It pretty much seemed like a negative presence, a negative entity that was just attached to you, and as you say, continues to be attached to you because you still see it from time to time. I really hope that you are now in a better spiritual, mental place, and I hope that shadow just disappears. If you guys have any advice for Eric, please write them down in the comments down below. But thank you so much, Eric, for writing in. I just hope things get better for you. Now moving on to the next story. Hi Daisy, I would like to be referred to as Natalie. This story is very personal to me because it is a touchy subject. I'm a believer of spirits, supernatural, superstition, etc. So when this happened to me, I felt so uneasy because I couldn't believe I would experience something like this. To give a little background information, I'm a young mom to a 2-year-old, and at the time I had my son, I was living with my family for half of the week and the other half with my boyfriend and his family. That way, I could spend an equal amount of time with everyone with the baby. So when I went back to school, it was February 2020. My baby was 3 months old and I was 17. We had this plan that I would stay with my boyfriend and his family for the majority of the time since he will take me to school. And at this time, they had a daycare for my son, so it was a good school for us. Anyways, my in-laws have always talked to us about when would we get our son baptized because his parents are religious and are old school Mexicans. And since they are from the rancho, they really believe in the supernatural stuff and brujas. They told me a few stories that back in their day, babies and kids who weren't baptized would get kidnapped or get taken in the night by brujas and get bitten by them, and the babies, kids would be left to die all because they weren't baptized by God to be protected. So when they told me this, I was skeptical and didn't really believe that because I thought that was far-fetched. Well, a few weeks went by and I had this dream. I was at a park, and next to the park was a train station. I was there waiting for the train with my boyfriend and my baby. This lady comes up to us and asks if she can see our baby and hold him. I felt bad vibes from her, so I was politely telling her no. But then she kept insisting that I let her. I was feeling uneasy by this, so I kept telling her no. She was visibly getting impatient and upset. I stood my ground and told her off. Worst mistake, because she transformed to her true self, an old, ugly bruja. She started speaking in Latin and gibberish and cursing me, like actually giving me curses. She was levitating in the air, looking down at us, and was very angry. I was shielding my baby away from her, and as soon as she left, I ended up waking from the dream, and it was the morning already. I felt really off about it. Normally, I would brush off my dreams because I don't take them seriously, but this dream felt too real. It felt like there was a meaning to it. I felt like it was a sign. I'm not sure of what. So I ended up telling my boyfriend about it, and he just told me to relax, that it's probably nothing. So I did. I brushed it off and tried to forget about it. A few months go by. It's summer. This one night, I was back at my family's house for half of the week. I share my room with my teen sister. We have a bunk bed, and next to our bunk bed is the crib. And when you enter our room, we have a big sliding closet on the left side, our bed and crib on the right side of the room, and a big window right in front of you as you enter the door. So this one night, I was laying on the bunk bed, co-sleeping with my son, who is now a few months older. It was late, like 2 in the morning. I was still awake, having that alone time, and was on my phone watching videos with a very low volume since my son is right next to me. We were both facing towards the wall that our bunk was against. My sister was in the living room watching movies out there. I had our windows open since it was hot, and mind you, we have a tiny patio, and there is no way for anyone to enter back there unless it's through the master bedroom, and the patio is fenced off. So if it was someone, it would have been my mom, and the sliding door is pretty loud and squeaky since it's old. As I was watching videos wide awake, when I started hearing whispering, it was faint, then it came closer. I couldn't understand what the whispering was about. I couldn't make anything on what was being said. The whispering got closer, so close I felt this energy. A presence behind me, right by my head and back. I was so afraid. I was paralyzed by shock and fear. I never felt so scared in my life. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it, and hear my breathing being unstable. I closed my eyes and held my son closer to me and started to pray. The energy in my room was so heavy and dark. I felt this weight on me, and it made me more scared, and I just kept praying. I was begging God to protect us and whoever was here to leave. I didn't stop praying until I felt the energy in the room change and felt safe enough to open my eyes. I was still too scared to turn around, so I texted my sister immediately on what just happened, and I made it clear that I wasn't half asleep or crazy. I heard the whispering clearly. I felt like there was someone in the room with me. So she came into my room and made sure I was okay. She ended up going to bed right away in her top bunk to make sure I felt comfortable. I couldn't sleep for the rest of the night. I still felt uneasy and scared. I felt sick to my stomach from the fear and what I was hearing. I knew it was something bad. And that very morning, I saw marks on my arm, and I just knew this was from last night. I was thinking, what could all of this mean? Then I remembered my dream. I felt disturbed to think maybe there was a connection to my dream and this incident. I ended up telling my mom what happened, and immediately she saged the house and cleansed me with an egg. The egg cleanse showed a lot of bad energy, a lot of those spikes, and a few bubbles. I felt reassured after that cleanse, and so far nothing has happened. So I'm very thankful for my mom for cleansing the house and me. She also bought those evil eye bracelets for my son, and he has worn it since then. Here is the picture of the marks, and excuse my arm hair lol, but thank you Daisy for taking the time to read my story, and I hope you can tell me what you think about the situation that happened. Okay, you guys are seeing the picture of the marks, and those look like bruises. Straight up bruises, as if someone was grabbing her arm. But I find it strange that I do see 3 clear marks on her arm, because that can be a sign of the mocking of the Holy Trinity. If you hear 3 knocks, 3 whistles, repetition of 3, they say that it is the mocking of the Holy Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. What do you guys think? Let me know down below. Very curious to see what are you guys gonna say about this. But I hope all is well with you, Natalie. All is well with you and your family. And I hope this stopped immediately. That was the last occurrence, because you're right. Like, that's just too much of a coincidence of like your in-laws telling you this. Then you had that dream, and then you heard these whispers with the 3 marks. I mean, hopefully it wasn't it, but it is really known, and it is well known that en los ranchos se dicen que las brujas se llevan a los niños. In other words, that it is well known that in los ranchos, in the ranches, that the witches get the babies that are not baptized, the kids that are not baptized. That's what's rumored, that is what's claimed, that's what's said. But let me know down below, what are your guys' thoughts? If you guys have stories about that too, I would like to know. So now on to the next story. Hello, I've been seeing your content for almost a year, so hey girly, hey. Well, I have always had paranormal experiences growing up. I just never told anyone. I sometimes think I am a medium. When I had just turned 17, I had quit my job because I found a better job that paid more. Pues when I first started working at the restaurant, they had me washing dishes in the back. Sometimes when I was washing dishes, I could hear and see someone from the corner of my eye pass behind me and go directly to where the boiler was. But because I was new, I didn't want to talk since I am shy. However, it continued to happen. One day when I was washing, the same figure passed by me. I ignored it, thinking it was probably one of the cooks. The sink faced a metallic wall, so when I looked up, I saw my reflection and something behind me. It was a guy, and he was 5'6". I am 5 feet, so I turned around, thinking it was a coworker, but there was no one there. This kept happening. I actually told another coworker, and she said she felt it too. We told a manager, and he left it off and said, "Están locas. Por aquí nadie se ha muerto." Y'all are crazy because no one has died here. So I just didn't say anything after that. This same presence would do his routine every day that I even tried to communicate with him. All I got was that he was Hispanic, 17 years old, but he never worked there. But then he got physical, dropping stuff, opening and closing the walk-in freezer. So once again, I told the same manager, and of course, he just called me crazy. But my same coworker said she felt like someone touched her back. So the same manager said it was one of the boys. The boys are some of the cooks, and they are 18 and older, and my managers are over 40. Just in case, we asked one of the guys if he was messing with us, and he said no. I knew those guys, so I knew they wouldn't do it. When I felt the same presence, I tried channeling with him. I just told him that he wasn't welcomed anymore. I said that he couldn't stay here. He didn't refuse and left. I told my general manager, and he confessed to me that he was a brujo, which I already knew because of the vibe he gave me. Sometimes I feel like we could read each other's mind. But like I mentioned, I never told anyone about me thinking that I'm a medium. But when I told him what I did, he told me I opened a portal just by trying to talk to it. So that same day, I got cleansed, and he said he closed it. The general manager and I never spoke about this again, but I just remember that one day my friend asked to be cleansed, but she didn't know from whom. So I said I knew how to do an egg cleanse. The people at my work saw me, and soon everyone wanted one, so I did. After that, I didn't mess with anything anymore because I absorbed all the pain from everyone that I cleansed. So I went home and cleansed myself and my home. So the lesson taught was don't cleanse if you're not protected, don't be mean to brujos, and the ghost of my job left. I'll probably share another one soon. And by the way, you're so pretty. Bye, loves. Thank you so much. No, but what the heck, girl? You over here opening a portal, communicating with this ghost, directing him to the light. Damn, okay, I see you, girl. But yes, honestly, do not be mean to brujos. Don't be mean to anyone for that matter. Like, I try to be, this channel is like a non-judgmental zone. I hope to not ever offend anyone or anything, you know, of that matter. But just don't be negative and be judgmental over someone's beliefs, someone's practice, someone's religion, someone's anything. Just, you know, don't be mean to anyone. But girl, yes, send in those stories, send them my way, and thank you so much for writing in your story. But now on to the next story. Hello Daisy, hope all is well. I am a new subscriber, and me and my husband love watching your videos, and we can relate to a lot of the stories you and the subscribers send in. As a child, I loved hearing scary stories and legends from Mexico, and I used to envy the people that would actually experience them. I know, kinda dumb, and trust me, I don't envy them anymore. I have a lot of stories that happened to me after I married my husband, his family, and a few from mine, but now I will share the only time I experienced something paranormal. When I was a kid. We had moved into my house and we were just a family of 4 then. My dad used to work second shift and I wasn't in school then. I must have been 3 or 4 years old, but I remember this vividly. My mom was always cleaning the kitchen at night, and me and my younger brother used to stay up with her. Sometimes we watched TV, sometimes we played together with our toys, sometimes we played by ourselves. On this particular night, I was playing by myself on our dining room floor. It was a little after midnight, and my dad usually got home around 1:30, 2 a.m. So there I was, playing with this cheap chef doll my mom got me from the dollar store. She had a chef hat, a checkered apron, and it even came with a small serving tray and a coffee cup. Now, I don't know what prompted me to look at her in her face, but I did. I began to observe her facial features, her hair, her clothes, and I looked directly into her eyes. I began to realize she had eyeshadow and was wondering how they were able to paint it on her when all of a sudden, she blinked at me. Daisy, her eyes were painted on. So there was no way her eyes could have closed the way they did. I threw her across the room and ran towards the kitchen so fast. I hugged my mom crying and I told her what happened. She walked with me to the dining room, the whole way trying to convince me I was probably just sleepy, that I just imagined it. Ya sabes, you know. She picked it up and showed it to me, but I cowered behind her. I wasn't trying to look at her again. I told her to throw it away, that I didn't want it anymore. So she took it out of the room and I didn't know what she did with it until I found it in a giant box full of toys in the attic years later when I was a teenager. I was rummaging through it, feeling nostalgic, and I picked it up thinking to myself, this looks familiar. I turned it around only to come face to face with it once more. I threw it down and ran out of there and down the stairs. I confronted my mom and asked her why she didn't just throw it away. She stood quiet and didn't respond, but I knew that she didn't really believe in the paranormal. Well, I never saw it again after that, so I assume she did eventually throw it away. Years later, I recounted this story with our family sitting around as the story switched to the paranormal. My mom finally responded in Spanish. Tu abuelita always said when we were kids that we shouldn't play with dolls after midnight, porque se les mete el diablo. But I never believed her, so that's why I allowed you to play with yours. I was shocked, but at the same time, not really surprised. And now, with a daughter of my own, if we stayed up late for whatever reason, I never allowed her to play with dolls with me or by herself. Well, that's my story, my only paranormal one when I was a kid, because the good stuff didn't start to happen until I got married to my gifted husband. So if you would like to hear more, please let me know. Sending positive vibes your way. Juana, girl, you already know that I do, okay? Send in those stories. I already know they're gonna be hella good. But your grandma, what your mom said, that your grandma said, oh my god, que se le mete el diablo. Holy, I just got, I got goosebumps with that. Not me taking notes on what your grandma said, but low-key, high-key, come on. Barbies, dolls in general, come on, especially the Victorian ones, de las quinceañeras, esas sí, those are scary. I've never owned one, but when I would go to my cousins' houses, especially in Mexico, siempre, they would always have it like on their cabinets, and I'm like, why? Because they just gave me the vibe that they were watching your every move. But Juana, honestly, you guys, you and your husband, thank you guys so much for your support. Everyone's support. When you guys say that you guys watch the videos entre familia, with family, that warms my heart so much. I'm not gonna get emotional. Oh my god, Daisy, stop. Like, why are you so emotional? but like it really does like warm my heart when you guys are saying like, this is bonding time with my sisters, my brothers, my little sisters, my mom, or that warms my heart. Juana's husband, thank you guys so much. Everyone, thank you guys so much. So that was it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys have any spooky stories that you would like for me to feature on my channel, please send it in at daicyspooks@gmail.com. But other than that, that's it for me, guys. I hope to see you all in my next one. Bye.